All right, look at that. We are live. Woohoo! Right, everybody having a good Monday. Yeah. Oh, we're like unison there. That was
Yeah.
good, Allison. Right. Yeah. Woo, woo, woo.
Unplanned.
That's perfect. And so what we've got here for the folks that know me, Dr. LL, co-founder of Helpopedia, where we are focused all on youth development, personal and professional development, and all things good for parents and their for kiddos, sorry, and their parents or guardians. And today we've got a special guest on, so we're really excited. Allison Marean, she is a social cognitive expert. So all of that stuff that we need to do to get along better with each other, be more aware. Not only that, she's a special education teacher, so helping kiddos is near and dear to her heart. And the third certification that she has, and this one you don't talk about too often, she is a certified laughter yoga expert, right? So
Yes.
let's get into that. So, hi, Allison. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me, Dr. LL.
Well, we're excited to have you here. I mean, HELPtalk, it's all about that, how we get folks to. Oh, we've got a number of people coming in there. Hello, hello. We've got from the Boreal Forest of Saskatchewan. Wonderful to
Wow.
see you. Uh, Patrice, she is the gardening grandma, and she teaches families how to come together and set goals and work together by and through gardening. So this is what
Ooh,
it
I love
essentially
that.
does. So, Allison, talk to us a little bit before we get into all the professional stuff. So,
Yeah.
are you a mom?
I am. I am a mom of two kids. I have a 10-year-old son named Lincoln and an 11-year-old daughter named Annika. And I also I was a teacher, like you had said. I was a special education teacher, and I really appreciate being around kids. I love being around kids. So when I was younger and I was a teacher, I couldn't wait to have my own kids. And I know this isn't the topic today, but it was really hard being a teacher and also being a mom and blending that. But that's a different topic. But yes, I am a mom. I have a little lacrosse player and a little entrepreneur, and they make me so proud and so happy every single day.
Excellent. And now you chose special education. And so to ask without, trying to make you uncomfortable in any means, are your children have special needs? Is that what drove you into special education and cognitive therapy and understanding? Or tell us a little bit about that.
No, it didn't actually. My parents are both, besides their professions. My parents were always helpers. They did a lot of volunteer work. My mom always worked with people with special needs, so I grew up around it. So I think I always knew that I wanted to work with kids. I always wanted to work with neurodiverse the neurodiverse population. And so when I went to college, I was going to be a speech pathologist. Then I went down the special ed road and then autism. And so here we are. So yeah, I just like working with kids. But no, my kids are neurotypical kids, but still, still have the ups and downs of parenting and all the challenges that go with that too. So
I'm sure, and as we were talking a little bit before the show, I'm not a biological mom, but I am a step monster, right? And
which,
go ahead.
what I was going to say, which I love. And you were also telling me about that, but I love that because can you share with everybody about your special Step Monster Day, which I think is amazing?
Well, I think everybody should have a step monster day. So as people are listening, the focus is going to be on Allison here, and she's going to give 7 steps on how we can help boost the social emotional learning of your kiddos. But we'll come back to that in just a moment. So step monster day. So I became a stepmom when the 2 kids were 8 and 10, which is kind of a tender age, and I've been
Sure,
on the
yeah.
scene with them for over a decade. So I've launched them, right? Got them through the teenage years, into college. Right. But along the way, I taught them a lot of this on the social emotional learning. But I said, I want you to embrace me as your step monster to remind you that I'm actually a good human and I really care. I'm an extra parent. I'm a bonus parent. And you never try to replace the biological mom or any of that. That's
Right,
never going to happen. But it's
right.
also where, 5, 6, 7 years into the, whatever 12-year journey that it's been, it's like, I get it. And it's wonderful that I help you buy gifts for your mom and prepare meals and things for your mom for her special day and her Mother's Day. But how come I don't get anything in this deal? Like, that sucks. So the week after Mother's Day, we have the annual celebration of Step Monster Day. And Step Monster Day, I don't cook all day. And I get some flowers and I get some things. And that's what we do.
I love that. I absolutely love that because, I like to talk about how relationships come first. And I think that's important, whether you are a mom, a dad, a step monster, a teacher, a doctor, anybody. If you are working with kids or you're supposed to have a relationship with kids, I do think you have to build that relationship first. So I really love that you acknowledge that, hey, I'm not going to be your mom. I'm not trying to take that over. That she can have that role. That's fine. But what is our relationship? And I love that you made it a point to talk about, like, hey, I'm in your life too. Like, I am a part of this, and I want to be a part of this, and I want to be recognized just like I recognize you. I want to be recognized too. I think that's really important, that, that give and take, that reciprocal relationship is important.
Absolutely. And now we've got my co-founder here, Phil, coming in. There's Phil. Meet Allison.
Hi, Phil. Nice to meet you.
Great to meet you, Allison. Thank you for having me, Laurelyn.
Well, you're the co-host. We need you here. It's like you're having Allison. And so, and look, we've got another guest here. So Christine Bernat, she is wonderful, helping with anxiety coaching. And she has a methodology, Snap, Tap, Zap, where she helps folks kind of manage their anxiety and release it. But back to Allison. So Allison, why don't you set us up here? Help us understand what's going on with where kids are and the society is social emotional learning, and why it's so important to bring all this experience and expertise you have in social cognitive therapy, in laughter yoga, and in special education, how you're bringing it all together.
So, all right. So great. So what I think is, I shared that I was a parent. I also have my own business, so I'm busy, and I know that I'm not alone with that, right? We're all busy. We have kids, we have things going on, we have schedules, but I do believe that relationships are first. Yes, Pat, thank you for that comment. So what I think is important is for parents to realize and understand that they can help their kid, that it is in their power, and it can be easy. It can be simple. It doesn't need to involve workbooks. It doesn't need to involve, just like long extended periods of time. What I am here for is to share 7 simple, easy ways to boost social emotional skills over the summer, because I get it. I'm a busy parent too. I feel like I have been flying around since the end of May with end of the school year stuff, summer kids stuff, band concerts, all the things, right? So I know that if I was going to a training, I don't need any more work to do because I am to the top. So I have 7 easy ways that parents, that they might already be doing this. And if so, I'm here to say, good job. Congratulations. Keep doing that, because that's what's important. And I want to be here to support parents and let them know that, like, hey, you can do this too, and you can do it really easy, and it's very easy to implement at your house, and you can do it every single day. And I was going to say the ROI,
the payback.
The payback. Thank you. The payback is just going to be so amazing, and you're going to set your kids up for long-term success working on these things every single day. And it's fun. It's not hard.
Which is totally our ethos behind Helpopedia, that we are focused on youth development and setting kiddos up for success, at school, at work, and in life. And so let's get back to you. So for those people that have, small attention spans, and they're not going to get through the 7 steps, what's the one big one that you want to drive home? What's that step that they should take, that first step?
The first step is just do things with your kids every day. The simple tasks at home. I know sometimes as a mom, I will do things myself, clean the kitchen, do the laundry, all the things. But really, I think it's important for parents to involve their kids in that process. If you're thinking about planning for your next vacation, bring your kids into that planning process. Talk to them about that. Like, hey, this is example for me. Hey, we're going to Maine next week. What do you think we should pack? Can you start a list? My kids are a little older, so they can write. And by having them write down a list, we're working on writing skills. We're working on executive function skills. I am narrating my thinking and bringing them into my thought bubble, which is a whole social emotional, that's perspective taking, right? Like I say to them things like, hey, do you remember last year what we did when we went to Maine? What did we bring last year? What is something that you don't want to forget? Write it on the list, because then next week we're going to be packing. So just simple things like involving your children into planning tasks when, I think before parents used to do it all their own, right? Yes, Christine, do it with your children, involve them. Like, hey, and it doesn't have to be hard. It's not necessarily like a chore or something that they have to do. It's like, hey, we have to go to the grocery store because what are we going to do for dinner this week, right? Like in the summertime, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but in the summertime, I don't want to cook meals. I don't want to sit in the kitchen all the time. And
You
but
don't?
I am the best chef in the house. Don't tell anybody that. But yeah, no, I don't want to. So I want to make it easy and simple for me. And that means that bringing my kids into it. So today, instead of going grocery shopping by myself, I was like, hey, y'all, come on, jump in the car. Let's go. This is what you're getting. This is what I'm getting. So they were doing things. They had to look for things in the grocery store. Again, we're building executive function skills and all those like social emotional skills, sharing space in the grocery store. There's just so many easy things that we can do every single day with our kids that boost social emotional skills that will help them feel valued, to help them feel seen. They'll be a part of it. They'll feel good about it. So I think it's great to involve your kids. I think that's going to be the takeaway of everything, is to involve your kids in everyday activities.
And you're talking to Phil Vitrano over there, who his business is called Planning and Vision. So yeah.
Oh, Phil, executive function things. I like it. So, all right. So I'm just going to jump into my 7 different things. I've already kind of said a couple things, but I'm just going to jump into it. The first thing that I have, so we're thinking easy, fun ways to boost your kids' social emotional skills, right? So anything I share today is nothing that has to take hours upon hours, unless everybody's having fun, and then go with it. But you don't have to do these things for hours at a time. So the first idea that I have is being creative, whether it's with arts and crafts or just completing a family project together. And now I know some people are going to be like, arts and crafts, like, no, I don't want to paint. I don't want to glue together popsicle sticks. And that's not even what I'm talking about. You don't have to do that. You can do that if you're an artsy family. My daughter is super crafty. She loves going into the recycling bin and pulling things out and seeing what she can make with it. So if your kid's like that, let them do it. Let them use their creativity. If not, if you have a family project to do, let everybody be involved. This could be like gardening, like planting a garden. This could
Grandma.
be watering flowers. I mean, hopefully your gardens are already planted by now. So maybe it's just upkeep, right? Like watering the flowers. That's a project. That is a long-term project that you have to take care of and you have to nurture. I also think rearranging room furniture. I know that my kids and I have been talking about cleaning up their rooms this summer and maybe, I don't know, moving the bed or moving something, like just doing those kind of family projects around the house, or like, hey, we're going to, I don't know, clean out this one little space in the garage. And again, I said a little space, you don't want to take on the whole task because that will turn everybody off. Another way to this, doing creative projects and building together, that fosters creativity. You work on collaboration skills, patience, emotional compression, right? When things are hot, you're frustrated and everybody's like, that's an opportunity for parents during these situations, during these activities. It's an opportunity for parents to show their kids, to demonstrate to their kids, like, this is how we react to things, right? Like if you're working on something and it's not working and it's hot and it's frustrating and you have one of those like IKEA projects that you're all trying to do, right? And everybody's sweating. That is a great learning opportunity for parents to demonstrate to their kids a calm response. So instead of like, we're not doing this anymore, and throwing it and swearing and walking out of the room, that's an opportunity for parents to be like, hey, you know what? I think we need to step away from this. Demonstrate taking a break. Demonstrate, hey, I am getting frustrated because these directions just have silly pictures. So I'm going to take a 5-minute break. I'm going to go get some water. I'm going to go take the dog for a walk. And then we're going to come back and we'll try again later or tomorrow. I think that's really important for parents.
That's key. What do you think of that, Phil?
Yeah. What do you think, Phil?
So first, I wanted to share that the grocery store is an incredible opportunity to be independent, for them to do independent. And one of the questions was, if they can't find it, do they come back to mom, or do they engage the store manager or some customer service person to independently help them figure this out themselves, or are they just coming back to mom? So that was one thing. And so I applaud you. And then the second thing, the project. Oh my goodness. Setting that mindset, first of all, right? You have to know going in that this is a social emotional learning exercise. Because if you don't, I will tell you, the true personality of that individual is going to come out. And I've been frustrated before. I was frustrated with an umbrella yesterday.
Oh, jeez.
Behavior was it was just out of this world. Of course, I was by myself. So when I'm by myself, I'm even more frustrated because I can't do what something is feasible. But if I was having my son or daughter there, I'd have to be in that mindset. Okay, this is a learning lesson activity. The goal is to be calm and collective and do this project accordingly, no matter how fed up this activity is, like the IKEA furniture, when you thought you had all the parts and you don't. Because it's so easy to bash the activity that you're doing, but you are a role model. I mean, you are a role model for your kids, and if you are having high anxiety, they're going to have high anxiety as well, because that's the influence that you have on your kids. So I applaud you for the project concept, and then just the reminder, this is for the family. This isn't for you to master this like this all the time. You can't be an expert on something that you don't practice. So
like silencing your cell phone during recordings. Oh, Phil. Oh, he's pink. I made it pink. All right, Allison, keep going.
No worries. Phil, just going back to the grocery store question. Actually, today when I went to the grocery store with my kids, my daughter wanted to try a seasoning that she had tried at a friend's house, right? Because your friend's parents always make better dinners, you know? So she came back and she had this giant bottle of seasoning. And I was like, okay, that's it? And she said, yeah. I said, that's great, but I need a smaller one. I'm not going to buy the big thing. And she was like, oh, I didn't see one. And I was like, well, go back and look again, because there has to be one. I know there has to be one. So my two kids went back and they found another one. So the first thing I would say is have them go back and try it again. Like, look again, use your eyes to think about all the spices and find a smaller one. Or I'll come and help, or find a store clerk. Definitely ask a question, because that's a whole nother layer. That's a great idea. That's a whole nother layer. And in regards to the projects, yes, you are a role model. So it's important to know, like, all right, if this doesn't work out, you have to have that in your mind as a parent. If this doesn't work out, it's okay to stop and take breaks, because we're just modeling our reactions. If we have big reactions when we're by ourselves trying to open or close an umbrella, that's on you. That's fine. Whatever you do in the privacy of your own wherever, that's fine. That's on you. But in front of our kids, we want to be role models. And here's another thing, Phil. We slip up, right? Parents get mad. We lose our marbles, lose our shit. Can I say that? I don't know. We lose our cool, right? And that is fine, because that's what people do. If I do that, here's another way to boost emotional skills. This wasn't on my list of 7, but this is definitely a top 3. When you lose your cool as a parent in the summertime, it will happen. You will get cranky, just like everybody else will get cranky and hangry and hot. When you lose your cool, that's all right. You know, try to keep it low, But if you lose your cool, I think it's okay. And I think it's great when parents go back a little later when they're calm and say to their kids, hey, and I've done this many times, hey, I'm sorry about before. I really lost it. I shouldn't have yelled. I shouldn't have sworn. I shouldn't have done this. Like, you guys were doing the right thing. I got frustrated when this happened. And next time when I get frustrated about something like that, I know that I have to walk away, or I have to go do something else, or maybe this wasn't a good project for a Monday during a heat wave. You know, like I think it's really important to talk to kids and reflect on, hey, that didn't go so well. Why didn't it go so well? Or that was great. Why did that go so well? That grocery store trip was so easy. You guys got the things, you went back, you got the smaller bottle. I love that. Thanks for problem solving that on your own. I really appreciate that. So either way, however the project, the event goes, I think it's really important to reflect and, you know, later on, don't make it weird. Like, hey, we're going to reflect now on our trip. No, just have a conversation, you know, when you're going to bed, when everybody's going to bed, or, you know, when my husband comes home later from work, I know I'll make it a point to say to him in front of the kids, hey, we went to the grocery store today and the kids were so super helpful. They went and they got this and they got this and they got this. So I will share with my husband in front of my kids all the things that I noticed and that I appreciated, or the things that I didn't appreciate, or the things that didn't go well. And then I'll say, but we've already talked about it. And next time we are not going to do it this way. We're going to do it this way. So this leads me to my next ways to boost social emotional skills. For those challenging times, I think a great lesson that we can teach our kids is how to laugh. Like you mentioned before, Dr. LL, I'm a laughter yoga leader, and it's because I learned that you can actually trick your brain into laughing when you think like there's nothing to laugh about right now. Like, I'm having a crappy day and this happened. It's hard sometimes to laugh, but we can actually biohack our brains into thinking that we really are feeling good if we just initiate laughter. So sometimes that means if we're trying to put together a silly IKEA project, or we're trying to do something and it just keeps messing up and we just keep spilling it or can't do it, laugh about it. Laugh at the mistakes. This is so stupid. I promise that if you just start pretending to laugh, and I actually would like to challenge everybody on this call, or if you're watching the replay, when you're done watching this, challenge yourself later to laugh about something. See if you can actually make yourself laugh. And I bet you can. I would bet $100 that everybody in here could make themselves laugh.
I wish I knew this yesterday and had risen to the challenge, because yesterday the hubster and I go for our weekly hike, and every time it's a different experience because we're always lost. We start following the red trail. The red trail becomes the white trail, and then it becomes the yellow trail, and then the orange trail and the blue trail. And we're like, oh my God, where's the red trail? And then we're lost in the woods. And yesterday it was hot as stink. We were melting. And of course, the sunscreen, everything's like blurring into your eyes, and the bugs are swarming you, and we're lost, and it's starting to rain. It's like, are you kidding me? And I was out of water. Like, there is nothing enjoyable about this. We're on mile 8 by this point, and insert that. I don't think I could have risen to the challenge to laugh.
So I get that. However, when you're in a situation like that, right? You're hiking, you don't have your water, you're lost, your stress levels are super high, right? And I won't get into the brain, but when our brains are in a stress response, we cannot problem solve. We cannot think logically and calmly about what is my next step here. So the first thing you need to do is calm your nervous system down. You didn't have water. You weren't going to be able to turn the AC on, right? You weren't going to be able to listen to music or like eat some food, because unless you had like some dry granola bar, but like, so your strategies there would have been, I don't know. And that's what I love about laughter, is because you don't need any tools. You don't need water. You don't need electricity. You don't need a pen and paper. You don't need a mat. You don't need stretchy yoga pants. You can just laugh. You can just stop for a second and be like, okay, babe, honey, whatever you call him. Maybe those weren't the words you were using at the time.
No, those were not top of mind. No.
Laura Lynn, this wasn't coming to you?
Christine's technique. We're lost into it. But I couldn't do this because I was trying to get the flies and the bugs off.
Yeah. So if you got too many mosquitoes and you can't even sit there and tap or anything, then I encourage you to try and laugh, because laughter can help release some serotonin. It can bring our stress levels down. We can really biohack our brain and trick our brains into thinking we feel better than we actually do. So I would suggest laughing about, a mistake you made. We were supposed to be on the red trail, and at one point we got to the white trail.
And now we're on the yellow trail.
And the villagers are getting restless with their spears.
This is fun. So yes, I would suggest finding laughing at your mistakes. That's another way to boost your kids' social emotional skills. You're building resilience when you can laugh at your mistakes and recognize that I make mistakes, you make mistakes, you do, I do, everybody does. No matter if you're 2, 10, 85, 105, you're going to make mistakes. And when we can all learn and accept that we make mistakes and then be able to laugh at our mistakes, it can really help our stress levels go down, so that we can then get back to it and be like, okay, let's look for red tree markers. We're looking for the red, not the white. Or let's
find the sun.
Yes. So we can use our tools, so we can use our brains again and figure out, what are we looking for? Where did we make the mistake? So laughter when your kid makes a mistake. When you get home from the grocery store and your kid dumps the whole gallon of milk on the ground. Not fun, but you can laugh over spilt milk, because you know what the heck are you gonna do about it? Clean it up, go to the store, get another one, and move on. What are you gonna do? So I think laughing at your mistakes is a great way to boost social emotional skills. Again, you're being the role model. You are showing your kids that, hey, I make mistakes. I tell my kids, I always point out my mistakes to my kids, and they love to also. Mom, you did that wrong. So oops, okay, I'll do it again. No big deal, right? Because I want my kids to go into school in the fall, and when they get to school, they're going to make mistakes. That's how we learn. So I want them to be ready. Hey, get ready to make mistakes this year. I hope you do make mistakes this coming school year, because that's how you're going to learn. That's how we're going to figure out, hey, we did it wrong, and that's not the way to do it. So be creative with your kids, laugh with your kids. I think having your kids do things around the house with you, take them to places, have them be a part of those tasks that I think parents kind of make their own parent tasks, or like a mom job or a dad job. Oh, no. Everybody come on. Let's go do it. Let's go water the flowers. Turn the hose on them. The other day I was watering the flowers, and I asked my daughter to help. I don't think she wanted to help, but then she came to the window of my house and kind of smiled at me or did something. So I sprayed her with the hose through the screen window. So there's another tip. I think you have to have fun. Let things get messy and be okay with it. Did my couch get a little bit wet? Yeah, whatever. I don't care. It's just water, right? I think people have to really ease up a little bit and think about what's important here. Is it more important for my kid to be happy, or is it more important that I have a whole gallon of milk instead of just a half a gallon of milk in the fridge? I would say it's more important for my kid to be happy, and a half a gallon of milk is fine. We'll go back and get more. Okay, another thing is, let's see, well, how much time do I have?
You can keep going. We're just, we're having a good time
Okay,
with
great.
Allison, all your
Perfect,
expertise
perfect.
in social cognitive learning, special education, all the stuff. Keep us going. How do we boost
Okay,
kiddo social
great.
emotional learning skills?
All right, great. Feel free to cut me off if I keep talking, because I love to talk about
Oh,
this
this
stuff,
is
and I
great.
literally could do it all day. All right. I also think doing family movie nights can be fun, or family game nights. And I think when some people say game night or movie night, they're like, I don't want to play games. That's too hard. So I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be a whole night of games. It doesn't have to be back-to-back movies. I think, find movies that your kids like, that they enjoy. And I think it's hard sometimes for parents to sit down and watch like a movie, because I know as a busy mom myself, I'm like, man, I have like a million other things to do. But there's so much learning in that stuff. Like you watch, I'm going off of kind of middle school, elementary school age kids. And I think movies like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the new Inside Out movie, Cruella, Descendants, those, oh my God, they're so good. Those movies have so much, like, so the characters are just so rich and relatable. I mean, even Descendants. And I think that you can have some really great conversations with your kids about that stuff. Like thinking about the movie Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I don't know if you guys are familiar.
Oh, yeah. Read all the
But
books.
yeah, so great, right? But I think it's great to talk about, in one of those movies, the family goes on like a summer vacation, and they have a boat, and the boat trailer gets off the car, and there's all these like problems, right? And I think it's fun to talk about, what would you do if you were in Rowley's position? Or what do you think that mom or dad should have done differently? Or what would you have done if you were the mom in that position and your kid is across town or in another place? Or how do you think the parents should have reacted? I think you can have those fun conversations without them being like, we're going to do a character analysis. Like, no. We're just going to talk about, like, what was your favorite part of the movie? Like, was it when the kid sits on the spiky thing and then they're trying to do the YouTube video and then the parents come over? Like, what would you do if your kid was at another person's house and this happened? I think you can have those fun conversations, because it's just about like fun movies. And if you get into, like, for older kids, those like Descendants movies, or the movies Cruella, like, they're talking about how like the evil queen became the evil queen, and they're talking about how these people got to where they are, as opposed to like, Cinderella. Like, we've all heard Cinderella, but now we're talking about, why is the evil queen, why is she evil? Why was she so mad at Cinderella? What was the deal there? And I think those movies are so great because it explains how people are treated a certain way, and then it sticks with them, and then they feel that way, and then they treat other people that way. And I think that just can lead to so many great conversations. Like, can you see how somebody would end up like that if they were bullied that way, or if they had that experience, how they would be scared to do this, or, wouldn't want to go here anymore. So I think movies are great. I also think game nights, I don't know about you guys, but I love to play games. I don't want to do like a whole game night, but I think there's problem solving, there's teamwork, there's turn taking, there's patience, again, self-regulation, emotional compression, right? When we're losing a game and we just can't get the damn snake eyes or whatever you need, like, I think that's a really great opportunity for parents to demonstrate that it's just a game. Oh, well, we'll play again another time, and maybe I'll win or maybe I'll lose again, but someday I'll win, and everybody has to win and everybody has to lose. I think that's really important for people to work on at home, because when your kids go to school, they're going to be playing games, and they have to know how to be good winners and be good losers, because we
Phil,
all are.
it looked like you had something to say there.
Yeah. So back to the movie. The scenarios are wonderful exercises to go through with your kids and engage in open communication, where they're not taking it personally, you're not taking it personally. There's this outsider view that they have, and then we're openly talking about the scenarios and what they would do and how they feel about the characters. And this really opens up dialogue. So that's a wonderful thing. But some kids are quiet, and they're not willing to share. and so it's opening them up to utilizing a movie to help them get out of their shell. And from a game perspective, you could see who the competitive kids are.
Oh yeah.
How important is winning?
And the competitive parents. You've got the hubster here. He's like, he has to. And I'm like, yeah, let the kids win, But two comments on that to add, Allison, like on the movies and things. First of all, like talking about the scenarios, Disney has pretty much destroyed it for every step monster out there, right? Because they've made every female character an evil step monster, right? That is the MO. Yeah. And the second thing on game nights, tip for other parents, one of the things that we've done, like not only when the kiddos were young, before they became teenagers, and now that they're adults, but we combined game night with, instead of a dinner, we do like Appy's night. So everybody gets to pick their favorite appetizers. So we just eat appetizers for dinner, a bunch of different appetizers, and play a game that goes with each appetizer. Anyway.
I love that. And that was another thing that I was going to say is cook with your kids, have them make snacks, have them, like I said to my kids, say at the grocery store, pick out something that you want to make this week. My son picked out chocolate chip muffins and my daughter's going to make chocolate chip cookies. Okay. Not super healthy, but they're going to do it and they're motivated and I don't care. I love me some chocolate. So whatever. But I think I love the idea of appetizers because then also you're working on perspective taking. So you could say things like, all right, what do you think Dad would like? What do you think? I would say to my son, Lincoln, what do you think Annika would want? Like if, we were at the grocery store, let's get it. So now you're working on perspective taking and thinking about others. And again, I love that. And food is motivating and delicious. So
that's
keep everybody's bellies full.
That's how I won them over. I went through their stomachs because they had the same meal every day. My husband he had custody, and so every day he fed them Cheerios with blueberries. Every day for lunch, they were those kids that took the tuna salad sandwich to school, and every day for supper they had salmon and lettuce every day.
Wow!
And so I entered the scene, and I bake and eat a lot, and everybody's gained some weight, but I won them over. They're like, wow, there's this other food.
Yeah. So, and also I just wanted to go back a little bit to the movies because Phil, you had said something about like, sometimes kids don't want to talk, right? And they definitely don't want to like talk about themselves all the time. So what I love for tweens and teens is when you watch a movie, say, what character did you like the most? And even if they say, I liked the evil queen the most, like, that's fine. No judgment on that. If they liked the meanest character in the movie, that's fine. Ask them why. And you can learn a little bit more about what your kid is thinking, where their thoughts are, where their head's at, how they perceive things. I just think it's open-ended questions are so great. Who is your favorite character? If you could be one character in that movie, who would you want to be? I think, so fun, right? All right. So moving on, you already brought up the food thing, which I think is great. And what I wanted to also add to that was balance, I think, balance and boredom. I think people need to let their kids be bored. And I mean bored without, here's your iPad, here's your screen, here go, I mean, be bored, electronics free. I'm going back to summer in the 80s when my parents would go to work and we had like 5 channels and my brothers and I were left home alone. Like, what do we do? So I don't know, go find something to do. I think it's really important for kids to be bored because it encourages problem solving skills, creativity, it builds resilience, patience, and it fosters independence. And I think there can be a balance between that. Like I said to my kids before, I was like, all right, you guys can have 15 minutes on your screens, but when I have to, jump on my computer, no devices, no screens. I don't want my internet, my Wi-Fi all, busy or jacked up or whatever happens. I was like, so go do something outside. I don't care what you do, but go outside. You can be inside, but you have to be quiet and do whatever. So they're going to be bored for, whatever, for as long as they need to be. And I think that's important. I think boredom and balance, like you said, you won your way to your stepkids' hearts through food and like making snacks. I think that's great. I think if you guys, I think doing like ice cream for breakfast is fun. It's a balance. It's a way to do something different. Like, hey, see how we go. Let's try ice cream for breakfast and see what happens. I prefer to give my kids sugar in the morning than at night. So we have done ice cream for breakfast. And if it doesn't go well, if everybody's like cranky and gnarly by 10, 11, then that's an opportunity to reflect and be like, okay, what did we notice when we had ice cream for breakfast? I noticed that by 10, everybody was hungry again.
Or
And I
hangry.
also hangry. And I noticed that, we all were kind of like drippy and didn't feel good. And so when you have the kids reflect, that's when they'll be like, oh yeah, maybe ice cream for breakfast wasn't great. So what else can we do? So balance, boredom. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say, well, and again, just giving that flex time. Like, so when we moved into the
Yeah.
house together in the kitchen, I had those decals made and it said, life is short. Start with dessert.
Yeah,
And
dessert first or whatever. Yeah.
right. And then also, like, on that, when the kids ever had like a big exam or something, we did breakfast of champions. So it might be waffles with Nutella and peanut butter and, like, just completely over the top. But making it a special occasion where it's not a regular thing. Again, to your point about balance with everything, right? You can't just feed kids, ice cream for breakfast every day, but it can be, all right, today's crazy eating day, right? We're going to do whatever, right?
Yeah. Or like, hey, we were gone for the weekend and we had a lot of fast food. So how about for the next couple of days, we add some greens and make sure we're only drinking water. I do that all the time. Like, that's fine. I think that works. Were you going to say something, Phil?
Yeah. So the boredom component, if we could just market that to, like Christine mentioned, find their genius. Imagine if you're calling this period of no use of electronic equipment at all. And what's that phase or that period of time? And is it finding your genius? Or is it
I love that.
is it the hour of creativity? Is
Mm.
it the hour of independence? It's something inspiring and interesting and challenging for them to go figure out what it is that they're going. And at the end of the day, what do they want to do? They want to entertain themselves somehow, because
Yeah.
you don't want them to be bored. Because
Yeah.
if they are just sitting there without electronics and just vegging without any sort of purpose, that's probably not what you're looking for. And they didn't step up to the challenge of, hey, you could do anything except for use electronics.
Right. I love that hour of finding your genius or hour of being creative. I also love hour of freedom. You have a free hour to do whatever you want, as long as you're not, on electronics or burning the house down or something,
Or jumping on the
And
bed.
yeah. And some kids might need help getting the ball rolling, and I think that's fine. Like, I've pulled out like Christmas gifts, like the kits. My kids always get these kits, which they used to love, but then electronics kind of took over. So like, I'll pull out a kit and be like, hey, you have this, remember this, out of your closet. And my son will be like, oh yeah, I love that, I'm gonna try that. So maybe you have to pull something out of the back of their closet and be like, do you remember this? And let them play with it for a bit. Yeah, I love that hour of freedom, genius hour. I love that hour of being creative. That's great. And that actually brings me to the next one that I have is, I love balance. So kids can be inside and whatever, but I also think they're so important for everybody to get outside every day. And I don't think you have to be outside for 10 hours. If you can, and if you want to, that's great. But again, some people aren't outside people. It's hot, it's buggy today where we are around here. So I told my kids, you can definitely come in the house, but we have to go outside, right? We have a dog. So after this, I said to them, hey, usually I walk the dog, but I'm like, hey, maybe you guys can come with me. And we're lucky enough to live in the country, so we have woods behind us. I'm like, we'll take the dog for a walk, and it's not going to be an 8-mile hike. We don't have to look for trail markers, but it's just going to be, 20 minutes, let the dog run around, and then that's it. We'll be fine. My kids are outside more, but I think if you don't have outside kids or you don't have a lot of outside space, I think even going with the family for a walk around the neighborhood before dinner, after dinner, I think is really great. Before dinner can be great for those kids with a lot of energy, ADHD, ADD. I got a lot of those kiddos who maybe sitting and eating is like a challenge. So I recommend getting them outside before meals and go for a walk. Take the dog for a walk. Go outside. You don't have to be outside for hours and hours. Just get your body moving and then come back in and then have them sit for dinner or after dinner if that works better for your family. All right, now we got to take the dog out for one last walk before we all go to bed or whatever. Do it together. I think, again, it builds that connection and relationships with your kids. If you're taking the dog out, you're taking care of something else. Perspective taking, again, this is our responsibility. It's not just on mom or dad, but this dog is a part of our family. So let's love on him and let's take care of him the way we should. I think outside is great. And there's so much science behind getting your hands dirty and playing in mud, but I won't get into that. But if you can let your kids be muddy and you're good with that, do that.
And eating some
off
of the dirt, right? Build up some of that natural immunity. We don't need antibacterial soap every time. Like, build some immunity.
Yeah.
You know?
Or if you're a parent and like being messy is just like seems so hard, give your kid a bucket and let them put all of the mud and whatever in a bucket. And then that way you're just in one spot. Here's your bucket. When you're done with your bucket of mud, hose them off, and then you can bring them right into the house and clean them up if you need to. I know some parents are not like up for messes. I am. So just trying to be thoughtful of others. And let's see. Yes. Out of cyberspace and into the natural world is so important. And then let's see the last one I have.
Okay.
I think I've done more than 7, but the last one
I've lost count. There's so many.
Well, some of them I'll go to. I'm kind of keeping track, but the last one I have is acts of kindness or community service projects. I think, again, let's be role models here. Show our kids how to do it. Now, I'm not saying that you have to, put out a box and look for canned goods and go around and collect canned goods or anything. It can be as simple as you're at the store with your kids and you see somebody who has a lot of groceries, like an older person, for example. I went to the store last week with my kids and we were at this like farm store and this woman was buying bags of soil and she was an older woman. And I said, and she had asked the guy at the register to help her out. And I was like, oh, hold on a second. I got some 2 young sprouts right here who will help you out. And I said to my kids, go ahead, grab a bag and help her out. And they both went and grabbed just like a bag. It was like a small bag of soil. And they brought it out to her car. The guy who worked there, he was like, thank you, And it was just an act of kindness. We just helped this woman, put it into her car. It wasn't long. It was over. Or if there's not an opportunity to help somebody like that, I think just demonstrating acts of kindness to kids, letting them see you do something good is really, really powerful. My father was a veteran. He was an old coastie, a Coast Guard. He was in the Coast Guard. And I really respect the military. I could never do it. So I will be the first one when I see somebody with a veteran's hat or a sweatshirt, anything that says veteran, I'll be the first one to go up to them and say, thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
Excuse me. I would just like to say thank you for your service. I don't need to have my kids say it also, but when they have seen me do that before. So in the grocery line, there was a gentleman with a veteran hat on, and I leaned forward and I just said, excuse me, sir. I just wanted to thank you for your service. And, we just talked for a second and that was it. And then when we got into the car, I said to my kids, hey, just a reminder, Poppy was a veteran. We love our veterans. We need to show respect. So make sure you thank veterans when you see them. And that was it. I didn't go into a whole speech about it. I didn't give a lot of background. I just demonstrated how to do it. By doing it in the moment and then again, reflected later on it. I think acts of kindness, spontaneously doing it, showing your kids, I think so good. It's helping out others. Hey, we're gonna donate all these. If you're cleaning out your house, we're gonna donate all these towels to the local dog shelter, or the pound, or whatever you call it by your house. Even stuff like that, Hey, kids, let's go through your old clothes and we're gonna go give it to Goodwill. My kids thought Goodwill was a person when they were younger. They're like, man, Goodwill's kids are gonna have so much stuff. So I think demonstrating, hey, this old stuff doesn't fit us anymore. So we're going to make sure it's clean, the stuff without holes and stains, we're going to donate it so somebody else can enjoy it and have some clothes. I think acts of kindness are so important, especially nowadays when things are
Lots of
icky,
kind.
you know? Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what I have for you guys. What do you think? Any questions?
Yeah, the last one is wonderful. It goes through the role model of being kind to others, and that's a popular goal for parents nowadays. For a lot of parent coaching, they'll share is that those two words, be kind, and then you've got to demonstrate that through
Yeah,
life.
show them what kindness is.
Absolutely, through life, and if we're constantly providing kindness, your kids will provide kindness. That's an absolute sure. And so, but we're so busy, we're so focused. If we're not looking for those opportunities of kindness, it's because you are too self-centered and you're watching your kids.
Yes.
Really carefully, because you don't see the kindness coming out left and right.
Yeah.
So definitely, it's great that you're at the grocery store and you identify that, and then you're proactively reaching out and showing them that this is, and you don't know the person, and that's okay. That's another conversation we could have is that don't talk to strangers thing. You got to start turning that around in 9th grade, 8th grade. It's okay to talk to professionals. The more professionals you talk to, you're going to be successful in life, because you're able to communicate with adults, and they're more caring adults, but you just don't know it because you think everybody's a stranger.
Right. And like really like that, the older man at the grocery store, he's fine. He's just buying bread and, orange juice. So it's fine. Yeah. And I think there's just so many little things that we can do with our kids. Like my husband, my son plays sports. So we're at a lot of sporting events where, I don't know if you've been to a sporting events, but people just throw their trash on the ground.
I know.
And so my husband will make a comment and then he'll pick up a couple things and go throw them out. And I think, he doesn't make everybody do it around him, but my kids seeing him do that, it's like, just go pick up that garbage and throw it out. Like, you're not going to get all sticky. I'm not saying pick up the dirty diapers, but like a cup, you can pick up a cup and be fine. Right. Like, I just think it's little things. I think people overthink acts of kindness. I think they overthink what to do with their kids. I think they overthink activities with their kids. So I hope if people get anything out of our conversation today, it's that it can be simple, it can be easy, and you can do this in your everyday life all the time. And just, demonstrate being a good human, and you will raise good humans.
Allison, thank you so much for the 7+, whatever the count was.
You're welcome. Yeah, sorry.
Tips on how we can help boost the social emotional learning and skills of our kiddos. And we've got, again, just wrapping up here, Allison Marean. She's special education teacher, social cognitive specialist, and certified laughter yoga expert, who gave us all kinds of tips. And it is really all anchored. I mean, even the events, the political rally and that this weekend, be kind to people and pets, right? Just set that example, show what can be done. So thank you, Allison. We look forward to having you on our other show on Tuesday night, talking about the toxicity in education in schools. So we'll get into that.
I will have to you will have to give me like 10 minutes, hey, because I could go on about that too.
Very good. All right. Well, we'll be here next weekend again on HELPtalk, as we are every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Next week, our guest is Jim Tazuski from Little Iguana, talking about keeping kids safe and learning that stranger danger thing, where how do you start to draw the line? So again, Allison Marean, thank you so much for being on our show, and we look forward to having you back.
All right. Yes. Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody watching.